The Empire sends a scout ship. The Vulcar Empire had ruled the stars for over 3,000 years. Their warships covered 3 galaxies. Their soldiers crushed every planet they landed on. No resistance had ever lasted more than a few days. The Emperor believed his empire was unstoppable. Every star system had bowed before them. Every species had either surrendered or vanished. But there was one system they never touched. A small blue planet in the Sol system. A world called Earth. It was not because they forgot about it. They knew Earth was there. Everyone in the Empire knew. It was marked clearly on their maps with a red warning circle around it. No one went near it. No one dared. But no one could explain why stories floated through space like whispers. Traders said that ships that entered Earth space never returned. Others spoke of strange weapons, of sound waves that tore minds apart. One tale said a fleet once tried to scan the planet and their computers melted. But these were just stories, no proof. No one had ever returned with facts. The Emperor was growing tired of this mystery. He didn't believe in ghosts or legends. He wanted answers, so he called Commander Threx to his throne room. Threx was young and fearless. He had crushed rebellions in the Red Nebula and fought plasma beasts on the moons of Ralcor. He was loyal, smart, and unshaken by fear. The Emperor gave him a direct order: take a small scout ship. Go to Earth, find out the truth, bring back proof. And the Mr. Ithrex accepted without hesitation. He believed the stories were false, just tales to keep weak minds busy. He selected a crew of 6 elite Vulcar scouts. They took a sleek black ship equipped with stealth drives and scanning tech far beyond human understanding. They entered hyperspace and began the journey to Earth. The journey was smooth until they neared the Sol system. That's when the first strange thing happened. The ship's scanners picked up thousands of signals. Old music, human voices, static, strange codes. The airwaves were full. It was like Earth was screaming into the void. Threx laughed. This was a primitive species after all. Noisy and chaotic. He moved the ship closer as they entered Earth's orbit. The laughing stopped. The ship's sensors started failing. Their stealth drive flickered. The AI core began to act strange. Threx watched as the main screen showed unknown satellites surrounding the planet. Hundreds of them. Most were human tech, but some were not. Some were sending out signals that couldn't be traced. Some had no visible source of power. Threx ordered a silent descent. The ship dropped into the atmosphere over the Pacific Ocean. They aimed to land deep in a forest where humans could not see them. But just as they crossed the cloud layer, the ship shook violently. A deep sound like a growl hit them. It was not a missile or weapon. It was something else. The sound passed through their bones and minds. Lights went out. Controls failed. Engines died. The ship fell like a stone. They crashed into a dense forest. The impact broke the landing gear. Sparks flew. The crew crawled out of the wreckage. No one was seriously hurt, but everything felt wrong. The forest was too quiet. There were no animals, no wind. Just silence. Then they saw him, one human, standing still. Wearing simple clothes. No armor. No weapons. Just watching Fem. Threx raised his arm to scan the human, but the device exploded in his hand. He shouted for the others to ready weapons. Before they could move, red dots appeared on every tree. Snipers. Dozens of them. Maybe more. They were surrounded. The human stepped forward. He looked calm. No fear in his eyes. He spoke in perfect Vulcarian, the language of the Empire. He said, "You have been warned." Before Threx felt rage rise inside him. He stepped forward to speak, but before he could say a word, the ground shook. The sky above them darkened. A massive shadow passed overhead. Their ship, the one they had arrived in, was rising into the air. It was being pulled by something they could not see. No sound, no engines, just force. It vanished into the clouds. The human looked Threx in the eyes. He said, Tell your emperor that Earth is not to be touched. We do not want war. But we are always ready for it. Rex opened his mouth to speak. Everything turned black. He woke up in his own ship, drifting in space. Alone. His crew was gone. The systems were barely functioning. There was only one message left on the screen. Burned into it like fire, Earth is not yours to conquer. When Threx returned to the Emperor, he knelt in silence. He could not explain what had happened. He had no proof. No recordings, just fear in his heart. The Emperor looked at the message on the screen, then at his generals. For the first time in history, the Velkar Empire marked a planet as untouchable. Earth was not just another world. It was something more. And the Empire had finally learned why no one dared attack it, the secrets buried beneath Earth's surface. Commander Threx sat alone in the darkened room of his command ship. His mind replayed the warning from the human. Message was clear. Earth was not a planet to conquer, but the Emperor wanted answers, not fear. He sent Threx back with a new order. Find out what secrets Earth held beneath its surface. What power did it hide that made even the Velkar Empire hesitate? Threx knew this mission would be far harder than the last, but he had no choice. He prepared a new ship, stronger, faster, and with better stealth technology. This time he would land beneath the surface and uncover the truth. The new journey to Earth was silent. No chatter filled the cabin, no jokes from the crew, just focus and tension. As they entered Earth's atmosphere again, the strange signals returned. But this time the sensors also detected energy readings deep underground, something unnatural. Something powerful. Threx narrowed his eyes and pushed the ship toward the source. They flew over vast forests and endless oceans, but their target was a massive mountain range in South America. The mountains were old and covered with dense jungle. But beneath them lay something the Velkar Empire had never seen. The ship landed near the base of the tallest peak. The air was thick with humidity and the sounds of hidden wildlife. The crew prepared their gear and began to explore. They found an ancient stone entrance hidden behind vines and moss. The walls were carved with symbols that glowed faintly in the dark. The language was unfamiliar, but somehow the symbols pulsed with energy. As they moved deeper inside the tunnels, strange whispers filled their helmets, like voices speaking in a language older than the stars. Threx felt a cold shiver run down his spine, but he pressed on deeper. Into the tunnels, the crew found chambers filled with strange machines. They were covered in crystals that glowed softly and walls that hummed with power. The technology was unlike anything the Velkar Empire had ever encountered. It was alive. It breathed with energy that could be felt in their bones. Suddenly the ground shook and the walls began to glow brighter. The machines activated and a beam of light shot into the ceiling, revealing a hidden chamber above. Threx climbed the ancient stairs and entered a vast hall. The ceiling was high and covered with stars that moved and shifted like a living sky. In the center of the hall was a pedestal holding a small orb. The orb pulsed with light, and inside it images of Earth appeared. Cities, forests, oceans, but also something else. The orb showed humans not as weak creatures, but as warriors. Standing tall against impossible odds, the images told stories of battles fought in silence, wars waged in shadows, and victories won by courage and unity. The orb's light grew stronger, and suddenly the hall was filled with a voice. It spoke in perfect Velkarian. The voice told of an ancient pact made between humans and the guardians of Earth. A promise that Earth would remain free from conquest as long as its protectors remained strong. The guardians were not gods, but humans who had evolved beyond normal limits. They had learned to use the planet's energy to protect life and fight any threat. Threx realized that Earth's silence was not weakness, but a shield. The planet was alive, and so were its people. They were ready for war, but chose peace. They were a secret force that no empire had yet understood or defeated. The orb's voice faded, but its message remained clear. Earth was not just a planet. It was a fortress guarded by warriors of light. The crew returned to their ship with heavy hearts and new respect for Earth. They knew this secret could change the balance of power in the galaxy. If the Velkar Empire tried to attack again, they would face not only humans, but the Guardians and the power of the planet itself, Threx, sent the message back to the Emperor. But he feared the truth would scare even the most powerful men. As the ship left Earth's orbit, the strange signals grew silent once more. The crew looked at each other, knowing their mission was just beginning. The mystery of Earth was deeper than any had imagined, and the Empire had only just started to uncover its secrets. The Empire's fury and Earth's quiet strength. Commander Threx returned to the Velkar Empire with the message that changed everything. The Emperor's throne room was filled with tension as Threx spoke of the ancient pact the humans had with their mysterious guardians. The generals listened in silence, their faces hard and unreadable. The Emperor stared at the message on his screen, then slammed his fist on the armrest, declaring that no planet could defy the Empire forever. The Velkar fleets would return stronger and more prepared than ever, but first they needed to understand what kind of enemy they faced back on Earth. The humans were unaware of the storm gathering in the stars. Their cities bustled with life, people unaware of the quiet war raging beyond their skies. Deep beneath the surface, secret groups worked tirelessly. They were the descendants of the Guardians described in the Orb's message, people who had trained for generations to protect the planet, their bodies and minds enhanced by ancient technology and the very energy of Earth itself. They called themselves the Watchers. The Watchers had long known the Velkar Empire would one day try to invade Earth. They had waited patiently, studying the enemy's strengths and weaknesses, preparing plans that could strike fear into even the greatest armies. Their leader, a woman named Ilara, stood on a cliff overlooking the Pacific Ocean. Her eyes glowing faint blue, she sensed the approaching danger. Her voice calm but firm, she told her team that the time to awaken had come as the Velkar Empire mobilized its greatest fleets. A secret fleet of human ships emerged from hidden bases on Earth and the Moon. These ships were unlike anything the Velkar Empire had seen. Sleek, fast, and armed with weapons powered by Earth's energy, they moved silently through space, avoiding detection and gathering allies from other planets who feared the Velkar Empire's expansion. Commander Threx watched as the Emperor's orders came down. The attack on Earth would be swift and brutal, but the Velkar fleets found themselves challenged. At every turn, human defenses were faster, smarter, and more deadly than any had predicted. The Watchers used the planet's energy to create shields that could withstand the strongest plasma blasts. They used stealth tactics and hit-and-run attacks that wore down the enemy's morale. The battle above Earth was fierce, but below the surface the true fight began. The Watchers moved through ancient tunnels and hidden cities, their powers allowing them to manipulate the very ground and elements around them. They struck at the Velkar supply lines and command centers, disrupting their technology and turning their own weapons against them. Threx found himself questioning everything he believed. The humans were not weak or primitive. They were warriors with a strength born from the very planet itself. Their courage and unity reminded him of old stories from his home world, stories of heroes who fought for justice even when the odds were against them. Despite the Empire's fury, the humans held their ground and slowly began to push back. The Velkar fleets retreated, battered and confused. The Emperor realized that Earth was not a prize to be taken, but a force to be respected. And as the dust settled, a new understanding grew between the two species, that the battle for Earth was only the beginning of a larger story. Ilara looked to the stars, knowing that the Velkar Empire would return. But she also knew that humanity was ready to face whatever challenges the universe would bring, and in the quiet strength of Earth, the Watchers stood as the first line of defense for all life on their planet. Secret alliances and shocking betrayal. The Velkar Empire had suffered an unexpected defeat, but the Emperor refused to accept failure. He ordered his generals to find new ways to break Earth's defenses. The Empire was vast and cunning. It did not give up easily. In the shadow of this defeat, secret plans were made, hidden from all but the highest ranks. A new strategy would be born, built on deception and unexpected allies. Commander Threx was given a secret mission. He was to contact a mysterious faction within the Empire itself, a group known only as the Shadow Council. They were said to manipulate politics and war. Behind the scenes, their loyalty was unclear, but their power was undeniable. Threx knew that if anyone could help him unlock Earth's weaknesses, it was this elusive group. Meanwhile, on Earth, the Watchers sensed a new threat, not from outside, but from within. Among the humans, there were those who feared the war would bring destruction and chaos. They formed secret groups, seeking peace at any cost, even if it meant betraying their own kind. These groups reached out to the Velkar hoping to negotiate and gain favor, but their true intentions were dark. Alara and her closest allies discovered strange communications between some humans and the Velkar Empire. The Watchers moved quickly to uncover the traitors. Their investigation led to a shocking discovery. One of their own leaders had been secretly working with the Velkar, offering information about Earth's defenses in exchange for power and safety. Betrayal shook the Watchers to their core. It was a reminder that even in the strongest communities, fear and greed could still grow. The traitor had helped the Velkar develop weapons that could bypass some of Earth's shields and strike deep into their cities. The balance of power was shifting and time was running out as the Velkar prepared a new invasion fleet. The Shadow Council revealed their true plan to Commander Threx. They had discovered an ancient artifact hidden within the Velkar homeworld, said to possess immense power that could turn the tide of war. Threx was tasked with retrieving this artifact and using it to crush Earth's resistance once and for all. On Earth, Alara faced a painful choice: trust the humans who sought peace and risk more betrayal, or prepare for total war against the Empire and any traitors among them. She chose war. She rallied the Watchers and called upon all humanity to stand united. The planet itself seemed to respond. The skies grew darker, and the Earth trembled as if awakening to the coming storm. The new battle was not just about ships and weapons. It was about trust, betrayal, and the fight for survival in a universe filled with enemies and secrets. The Empire's fury clashed with Earth's quiet strength. The future of both worlds hung in the balance. Commander Threx prepared to leave for the Velkar homeworld, carrying hope for victory, but also doubt in his heart. The betrayal he had seen on Earth made him question who the true enemy really was. And Alara watched the stars, knowing the war was far from over, but ready to face whatever came next. Alliances shift and the final battle approaches. The stars stretched endlessly as Commander Threx's ship slipped through the dark corridors of space, heading toward the Velkar homeworld. His thoughts were heavy with doubt and uncertainty. The betrayal he had witnessed on Earth haunted him, but the mission pressed forward. The ancient artifact the Shadow Council spoke of was said to hold power beyond imagination. It could decide the fate of the war and change everything back on Earth. Alara prepared her people for the coming storm. The Watchers trained harder than ever, pushing their limits, tapping deeper into the planet's energy. They knew the Velkar would return stronger and more ruthless. They built new defenses hidden in the mountains and oceans, creating traps that used the planet's natural forces as weapons. Cities were fortified, not just with technology, but with the will of the people who lived there. The humans had also reached out to other alien species who feared the Velkar Empire's expansion. Their calls for help were answered by small fleets from distant systems, willing to fight alongside Earth. This fragile alliance was built on hope and fear of what the Empire could do if left unchecked, but it gave humanity strength and new friends in the dark void. Meanwhile, on the Velkar homeworld, the Shadow Council's true motives became clear. They wanted the artifact for themselves, not just to defeat Earth, but to control the entire Empire. Some among their ranks dreamed of overthrowing the Emperor and seizing power. The political game was deadly, and Threx found himself caught between loyalty to his people and suspicion of those he served. The artifact was hidden deep within an ancient temple guarded by traps and powerful creatures. Threx led a small team on a dangerous mission to retrieve it. Each step through the temple tested their strength and resolve. They faced illusions that twisted their minds and guardians that challenged their bodies. But finally they reached the heart of the temple, where the artifact rested on a pedestal, glowing with an eerie light. As Threx reached out to take it, the temple began to collapse. The team raced against time, escaping with the artifact. Just as the structure crumbled behind them, the power inside the artifact pulsed through. Threx's body awakening something new in him. He felt strength and clarity, but also a warning that such power came with a price. Back on Earth, the Alliance gathered ready to face the Velkar fleet as it approached the Sol system. The sky darkened with warships and the tension grew thick like a storm before a lightning strike. Ilara stood on the command bridge, her eyes burning with determination. The fate of Earth and its allies rested on this battle. The fight was not just for survival, but for freedom and the right to exist without fear. The battle was fierce and brutal. Ships clashed in a deadly dance, lasers cutting through the void, explosions lighting the darkness. The Watchers used their powers to shield their fleets and strike at the Velkar with unexpected ferocity. The humans and their allies fought with a unity born from shared hope and desperation. Artifact's power pulsed in Threx's hands as he led the Velkar forces, but he struggled with the weight of its influence, pulling him toward darkness in the final moments of the battle. Threx made a choice. He turned the artifact's power against the Shadow Council, exposing their treachery to the Emperor and the fleets. His actions fractured the Velkar command and sowed chaos among their ranks. The humans and their allies seized the moment, pushing back the enemy and forcing a retreat. As the dust settled, the Emperor realized that Earth was more than a planet. It was a symbol of hope, unity, and strength, that even an empire could not break. Ilara and Threx faced each other across the void, knowing that while this battle was won, war for the future was far from over. The stars were quiet once more, but the echoes of the battle would shape the fate of many worlds for Earth and its defenders. The war had forged a new path, one filled with allies, enemies, secrets, and the endless fight for survival in a universe that watched and waited. Unexpected twists and the turning point. The aftermath of the great battle left the Velkar Empire shaken. Their once mighty fleet was scattered and fractured, but the war was not over. The Emperor's anger burned hotter than ever. He refused to accept defeat and demanded revenge. Commander Threx found himself at a crossroads, torn between loyalty to his people and the new respect he held for Earth and its defenders. The power of the artifact weighed heavily on his soul, bringing visions of destruction, but also a chance for peace on Earth. The Watchers and their allies worked to repair the damage. The cities slowly came back to life, but the scars of war were deep. The people knew the fight had changed them forever. Ilara called for unity, reminding everyone that their true strength came not from weapons or power, but from their courage and belief in a better future. She sent envoys to the distant allies, promising that Earth would stand with them against any threat. Meanwhile, the Shadow Council was in disarray. Threx's betrayal had weakened them, but some members refused to give up, plotting in the shadows to seize control. They sent assassins to hunt down Threx and anyone who supported him. The political struggle inside the Velkar Empire grew more dangerous than the war itself, with old enemies becoming new allies and new enemies rising from trusted ranks. In a secret chamber deep within the Velkar homeworld, the artifact began to pulse with a strange energy. Threx sensed that it was alive and connected to something much greater than he had imagined. The artifact whispered secrets of the cosmos, showing visions of distant stars, ancient civilizations, and a power that could reshape reality itself. The choice was his: use it to dominate or to protect. As tensions grew, the Velkar launched a covert strike against one of Earth's hidden bases. The attack was swift and deadly, but the humans were ready. Their Watchers fought with ferocity, harnessing the planet's energy to shield their homes and strike back. The battle underground revealed new allies emerging from the shadows, mysterious beings who had watched Earth for centuries. These guardians offered their aid, promising to help protect the planet from any who sought to destroy Itelara. And Threx's paths crossed once again, this time not as enemies, but as uneasy partners. They met in the ruins of a destroyed city, both understanding that survival depended on trust and cooperation. Their conversations revealed more about the true nature of the artifact and the ancient pact that protected Earth. The war had opened doors to secrets long buried and alliances never imagined. The final twist came when the artifact revealed a message From the original creators, a race older than the Velkar or humans, a warning that the universe faced a threat beyond any empire or planet. A darkness that consumed worlds, leaving only silence in its wake. Earth was chosen to be a beacon, a last line of defense against this cosmic danger. With this knowledge, the war shifted from conquest to survival. The Velkar Empire and Earth had to put aside old grudges and unite for a greater purpose. The battles would continue, but now the stakes were higher than ever. It was no longer about power or territory, but about the fate of all life in the galaxy. Threx stood beside Ilara, looking up at the stars. The future was uncertain, filled with danger and hope. But one thing was clear: humanity had proven itself worthy, not just as warriors, but as guardians of the light. The war for Earth had changed the galaxy forever, and a new chapter was about to begin. Final stand and a new dawn. The warning from the ancient creators echoed in the minds of both Velkar and humans. A darkness beyond all known threats was moving through the galaxies, devouring entire star systems without mercy. The Velkar Empire and Earth knew that their long war was a small battle in a much larger war for survival. Commander Threx and Ilara stood together, ready to lead the united forces against this cosmic shadow. The fate of countless worlds now rested on their shoulders. Alliance was fragile but strong. The Velkar fleets joined with Earth's watchers and their distant allies as they prepared for the inevitable attack. The skies were filled with ships bristling with weapons, powered by ancient technology and human ingenuity. The warriors trained harder than ever, knowing that this fight would decide the future of life itself. The cities of Earth became fortresses, and the planet's energy pulsed like a heartbeat, fueling every defense. As the dark enemy appeared on the edge of the solar system, it was unlike anything they had seen. It was a swirling mass of black and red shadows, shifting and twisting like a living nightmare. Its power warped space and time around it, consuming light and hope alike. The first waves of attack crushed whole fleets and shattered planets, leaving silence in their wake. The galaxy watched in fear and despair, but Earth and the Velkar refused to fall. They unleashed the full power of the artifact, which glowed with pure energy and connected to the very heart of the planet. The Watchers channeled their strength through the artifact, sending beams of light into the darkness. The Velkar ships fired their weapons with renewed fury. Their pilots fought with courage born of survival and belief. Thrax fought alongside Ilara in the command center, coordinating strikes and adapting to the enemy's shifting tactics. The bond between them grew stronger as they realized that unity was their greatest weapon. The artifact revealed hidden pathways and weaknesses in the darkness, guiding their attacks and protecting their fleets. But the enemy was relentless, and the cost was high. Many brave warriors fell, and cities on Earth trembled under the assault. In the darkest hour, when hope seemed lost, Ilara reached deep into the energy of Earth, calling upon the ancient guardians hidden for centuries beneath the surface. These beings rose like giants of light, their presence pushing back the shadows. Their power, combined with the artifact, created a wave of energy that shattered the enemy's core, breaking their hold on the galaxies. The darkness screamed and faded into nothingness, leaving behind broken stars and silent space. The victory was hard won, but it was complete. The galaxy breathed a sigh of relief as the threat was ended and peace began to return. The Velkar Empire and Earth stood together not as enemies, but as protectors of a fragile new order. Emperor met with Ilara and Threx in a ceremony held on Earth's moon. The old grudges melted away, replaced by respect and hope for the future. The artifact was sealed away, guarded by both Velkar and humans, as a symbol of their alliance and the sacrifices made. The story of the war and the cosmic threat became a legend told across worlds, a reminder that even in darkness light could prevail. Threx looked out at the stars, knowing that the galaxy was still full of mysteries and dangers, but also endless possibilities. Earth had proven that strength came from unity, courage, and the will to protect what mattered. Most of all, it had shown that even the smallest blue planet could stand tall among the stars. As the sun rose over the new dawn on Earth, people looked to the skies with hope. Their warriors watched from above, ready to defend their home and the peace they had fought so hard to. When the future was uncertain but filled with promise, a new chapter had begun, and humanity was ready to write it.